And this is one of the things that I was very impressed with in terms of the Hebrew Israelites, because they knew that Bible in and out. And so, you know, that was the first class. So the first thing that they, you know, really kind of do to get you in is what they call the color scriptures. And so, as I stated before, they were like, we, you know, are a group of, you know, Bible scholars, and we teach Black history through the Bible. And so, you know, when you first encounter them, what they're going to try to do is to help you to see yourself in the biblical tradition. And so they'll go to these quote unquote color scriptures and talk about, for example, how Jesus the Christ is Black. And of course, we all know the verse where they describe Jesus as, you know, having feet of burnt brass, and they talk about his hair being of wool and eyes being fire of a flame, or red, you know, like a flame or whatnot. And the argument for that is that Jesus Christ drank. And so when people drink, you know, their eyes get a little red. So they were saying that it was flushed with alcohol, and that's why, you know, Jesus' eyes were red. And this, you know, again, impressed me to an extent. And then, of course, they would talk about how, you know, when Moses, you know, or Aaron or whatnot, put his hand in his bosom and it came out, you know, white as snow in terms of leprous. Well, you know, the logic was if he put his hand in his bosom according to the scripture and took it out and it was white, it had to be of darker hue, came entrenched in the philosophy in the doctrine of the ICUPK. So this is Modupe Oduyoye, and it's going to be hard to read the text, so I'll just read it out. The words and meaning in Yoruba religion, linguistic connections in Yoruba, ancient Egyptian, and Semitic. And I have another one of his books here, The Sons of Gods and the Daughters of Men, an Afro-Asiatic interpretation of Genesis 1, came entrenched in the philosophy in the doctrine of the ICUPK. So this is Modupe Oduyoye, and it's going to be hard to read the text, so I'll just read it out. The words and meaning in Yoruba religion, linguistic connections in Yoruba, ancient Egyptian, and Semitic. And I have another one of his books here, The Sons of Gods.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Baruch HaQuadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Also, I want to give us a sincere shalom to the elect, its labor and sincerity and truth. Okay, anyway, I wasn't going to do much with this guy here in this video, but the Spirit just lead me to do that because of the fear we must have for the Lord. This guy, he knew he was an Israelite. He knew, actually, he was in the group of the ISHBK. We don't agree with their doctrine, but we will say that they are Israelites, and to leave one Israelite group, okay, to find your way maybe to another Israelite group would probably make more sense. And we say come to Great Millstone, I mean, if the Spirit's with you. But this guy, he leaves and go to the Egyptology to be an Egyptologist. Now this is a 3-hour and 2-minute video and 52-second video, so he had a lot to say according to why he left. And he went into his so-called rap career and all other kind of crazy things that was just unnecessary. You know, these guys like this just need a little bit of attention because of what they wasn't getting while they was in the group that they was in. And that's something to tell you about someone who is in something, you know, in the truth like that, or know that they're an Israelite, and to just throw it all away, meaning something was wrong with with this person from the beginning. You know, that's something to think about. To come into something like this, and then all of a sudden decide, well, I don't want to do this no more. I am now an Egyptologist. He was into Islam. He was into Christianity. He found his way to being a Hebrew Israelite. Now he finds his way into Egyptology. You know what's going to happen next. He's going to find his way probably to Mormonism next. Then he's going to find his way back to Islam or Christianity or witchery. I mean, who knows? The scripture says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. This man is an unstable person. He's actually too smart for his own good, you know? And that's what I mean by that. He probably reads a lot. He probably knows the mechanisms of the atmosphere and all kinds of crazy things he's studied. But then what happens is it takes you into another realm of thinking, and then all of a sudden that's not smart. That's not intellectual enough for you anymore. Then you start rolling into other doctrines. It took this man 3 hours to sit here and explain why he left the Hebrew Israelites. All you needed was a minute. And personally, I wouldn't even have to sit there and explain why I left. This is not some basketball team or some sports arena event where you sit up there and explain to people why you left something as if it was meaningful enough to the public. You know, it makes more sense to why LeBron James decided why he left his team to go play on another team. You know, that would probably make more sense. You don't see the Christians leaving the church and say this and do a video. This is why I left this church and I went to that church. I left Christianity. A lot of you people are just confused, man. You don't know what you leaving and what you going into. Anyway, I don't have much to say about this. This guy, he goes into Egyptology, and I'll get something in Egyptology that just lets me know that's something I far stay away from. And he understands it's according to the scriptures about the Egyptians. He talk about the history that's not proven, about the artifacts and the writings. This guy had no faith, man. Ecclesiastes 12 and 10, and further by these, my son, be admonished of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness to the flesh, is weariness to his spirit too. This man is marbles that just rolled out his ears, man. You know, and I'm not mad at him. That's the thing about it. But when you see these guys, 1 minute they're Israelites, and the next minute they got to make a video of why they're no longer following the Hebrew Israelite, tells you how powerful this doctrine really is. You know, where it makes sense that the Lord just didn't want them. He didn't leave. The Lord kicked them out. The Lord said, "Get out of here. There's no purpose for you." The scripture says, "Many are called, but few are chosen." And he goes into the fact of going into the history. He's studying the Egyptology, but you know, if he knows the history about Ptolemy, the Egyptians, the Greeks, and how all that turned out to be, all the history is right there in the Bible. What more does he need? It ain't good enough for him, though. The history of the Egyptians and everything goes in the Bible. But you know what this guy did? He read a book by this man. What the heck is this man name? I think his name is Madupe Obiyomne. See, this is too much, man. This man is gone off his rockers. Okay, Madupe and Matumbe and I don't know. Let's go to the God nut. Okay, I always go to this. I mean, these gods, and this is what he's worshiping. And the scripture says not to follow these other gods. Woe to them that go back to Egypt. And that's what these guys have done. This guy like this has done. He pretty much gave up on the Bible altogether. Okay? Okay, it says Egyptian religion is unique in the genders of its deities. Because some of them are male and female. Some of them are androgynous demons. of the earth and sky, and a goddess of the sky. Nut swallowed the sun in the evening and gave birth to it again in the morning. Nut was also represented as a cow, for this was the form she took in order to carry out sun god Ra, you know, which Ra is evil, on her back in the sky. On 5 special days preceding the new year, Nut gave birth successfully to the deities Osiris, Horus, Seth, Isis. This is, and I'm trying to keep this clean. This is why they will call a man's spermia nut. It comes from the Egyptians. This is it. Osiris, Horus, Seth, Isis, and Nephesis. I don't know. These gods, with the exception of Horus, were commonly referred as the children of Nut. So Osiris, Horus, and this is where you get Serapis. Osiris, Horus, Seth. That's a god that they worshipped. Okay. I mean, well, how much more sick do we have to get, you know, dealing with these Egyptologists? How sick can you be? Anyway, Romans 1:28. And even as they did not like to retain Yahweh in their knowledge, Yahweh gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient. Right? He gave them over to a reprobate, meaning not standing the test of the truth. He could have easily said, well, I don't get ISHBK, I don't follow their doctrine, they ain't right on the mark of the beast. This guy just goes totally backwards, away from the scriptures in general. There's no prophecy coming out of the book of the dead. He wants to go into history. You're going to follow Egyptology. Egypt was taken down by Ptolemy Soter. Okay, I believe 323. Ptolemy Soter took down that, made up Alexandria, Egypt, took the records, recopied everything, and made it and declared itself to Pharaoh, all the way down to his what's her name, Cleopatra, if I'm not mistaken, before Egypt fell. This is what this guy's managed to come into. In Egypt custom. So you know what? You need to go to Sudan with those tall, minute bowl lookalike figures, jump around with a little tiny scarf on, you know, covering your midsection, and the back open, and jump up and down in a circle with a big stick. You need to get the lip plates. All you Egyptologists, man, get the lip plates. Get your wife one. They got them custom sales, man. You can go on eBay, get yourself those elephant tusks and stick them in your cheeks. You know, I'm talking about your cheeks up top, you know, or wherever you want to stick them. You know, get all those things, man. Get that big lip plate, man. I'm sure they got it on sale. All you jakes are phony, man. All you do is talk about Egypt and how you love Egypt, but you would do nothing of the Egyptian customs, man. All you think you do is wear some a long tail, or you're throwing some Egyptian-looking rag, you know, that was made up in a sweatshop, and then you'll come on the internet and read a bunch of books talking about Egypt, showing pictures and characters of so-called white people. This is sick, man. You know, I don't know. I think this is one of the worst ways to fall out, is to fall that far backwards, back to Egyptology, or going into Egyptology. This is sick. This man doesn't know what to do. You can see in a worldly level, you can see he don't got it, but he has some form of intelligence where he might be a good computer programmer or something. You can see this guy, but these are the guys that their brain cells burn and they get all chewed up And then they start following and flowing in all other kind of doctrines because he's reading too much. He's everywhere. I'm listening. I'm chopping up this whole video in 3 hours. I ain't gonna sit there and listen to 3 hours of that madness. But I could. He's got this book and that book and this book and that book, all these books, and he had the real book right in front of him. That's the Holy Scriptures, man. That's all I have on that. Shalom.